and today I'm going to be your host. For the ones who are joining us for the first time, we are Upgrad Knowledgehut, a leading training provider, and we help professionals from across the world and from different domains and different industries and developing new expertise as well as getting job ready in the process and getting to bridge their skill gap. Developed with the intention of delivering high value training programs, we cater and we provide a lot of training programs and certifications, which essentially help you get ready in the job market. Now, our goal is to help people develop the necessary skill sets and get into their dream job. Now, the special agenda of this masterclass is to address an area which has been in the gray for most of our working professionals for a long time. The question being, I'm already a Scrum Master right now. What's next in line for me? What are the other skill sets that I should target? And in order to help us find a path in moving forward, we have one of our finest instructors joining us today. He is a certified Scrum instructor with Scrum Alliance, and he's a certified Scrum product innovation trainer. He, along with Valerio, obviously delivers highly engaging training sessions. A main and a crucial part of his sessions are the highly engaging and interactive activities that he does. The participants have a lot of group discussions, they go through simulations, they go through exercises, and perhaps this is the part which we all expect and aspire for during these online training programs. So I would like to welcome Valerio and go ahead with the rest of the training. What we want from Valerio is to address the elephant in the room here is after becoming a Scrum Master, what's next for me? What's next in line? What roles should I target? What kind of jobs should I target? And in the market, what roles can I get? In order to move ahead to the next level after becoming a Scrum Master, what should be the next, let's say the next, how do I say, let's say what should be our next milestone in the pathway? So Valerio, over to you. You can go ahead and address our audience.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Just to confirm my audio is working. Yes, okay, awesome. Thank you for the kind introduction. I want to share a few words about me. I don't have control of the slide, so I guess, Shankar, you're going to move the slide forward when I need that?
Yes, Valerio.
Okay, can you move to the next slide? Okay, here we go. So just sharing a couple of quick words about me. Originally, I am from Italy. I moved to the United States in 2004, so actually 20 years ago this month. And from a background education, I'm a computer engineer. And I started my early career working as a software engineer, web developer, and then a systems engineer in telecommunication. When I moved to the United States, I came here for business school. And during business school, I started an internet company together with a couple of other partners. And I ran the company for 6 years. And during that period, I started acting as a product owner. And in fact, I was working with a development team. I was responsible for prioritizing the work that we were doing to build our platform and to decide what to build, what not to build, so all the details and the requirements. And we were doing the work in 1 month increments. I did not know at the time that it was basically the precursor to Scrum. But later on, throughout my career, I started taking classes, I did some training. I had the ability to actually practice agile values and principles and learn more about Scrum. And I've been working with Scrum and in general agile teams ever since. For the last 7 years, I have been a trainer, a consultant. I help organizations learn and adopt agile practices. I'm a certified Scrum trainer, so I do training on Scrum. I am also a certified product innovation trainer, and I do training in product management. And you can see on the screen, I publish 3 books, one on product management, one on Scrum, and one most recently on SAFe for product managers and product owners. So really, all my intent is to help people learn and adopt these practices to build better products and to grow in their career, which is the topic for today. Can we move on to the next slide, please?
Sure, Valerio. Sorry to cut you off. If you can just give me a second. I think our Upgrad Knowledgehut family would love to see you. So maybe if you can switch on your camera.
I would like to, but I don't have any control on my end to do that.
Sure. Let me take that up from mine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're good to go. I think you have control. Can you check if you can switch on the camera from your end? Yes, I think we can see you now. I think most of our audience will also now be very happy that we can finally see you and, rather than just listening to you and, it could be somebody else talking. But ladies and gentlemen, he's our finest instructor, Valerio Zanini. Welcome him one more time. You can continue, Valerio.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for enabling that. I think you still have control of the slides, right? You do that. Okay, awesome. So one step back, please. Just talking about quickly talking about the learning objectives for today. A few things I would like for you to get out of this conversation. First of all, expand your role as Scrum Master. Then develop skill set in mentorship, facilitation, and coaching. Learning how to do this. Learning how to coach product owners. Grow your career and become an agile coach. Coach and support leadership and management. And then finally, identify common challenges and overcome obstacles. And so we will cover a variety of different topics here. I want this to be like a conversation. I'm going to share a few points, and then I invite you to maybe use the chat to ask some questions. And I assume at the end of the presentation, we will have an opportunity to have a Q&A session all together. All right, so let's get started with the next slide. I would like to start with a question. And the question really to ground our understanding is, what is a Scrum Master? So next slide, please. We know the Scrum Master is a role on a Scrum team, and in particular, this role has some specific accountabilities and some specific responsibilities. I would like to go a little bit deeper on that. So the first thing I did, if you don't mind, next slide. The first thing I did, I actually asked AI, what is a Scrum Master? So just for fun, I asked Gemini and I got these answers. Scrum Master is essentially a facilitator and a coach for a development team using the Agile Scrum methodology. Now, I don't want to get too detailed on some of the meaning of these words. Some of the things people at least have been in my classes, they know they are not completely correct, but we will take it at face value for now. Their primary role is to ensure the team understands and adheres to the Scrum framework, while also removing impediments and fostering a collaborative environment. That's awesome. I would say probably that's how most people think about the Scrum Master, and certainly how it over the years it has been perceived, that role. I think there is more to that, and I would like to start by looking at how the Scrum Guides really defines the Scrum Master role. So next slide, please. I copied these two quotes from the Scrum Guide, the latest edition. So the first one is, the Scrum Master is accountable for establishing Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide. That is an important sentence because we cannot really be a Scrum team unless we do Scrum properly. So who is the person that helps the team adopt Scrum, learn Scrum, do things properly? That's the Scrum Master. That is the main accountability, which also means that we can measure the performance of the Scrum Master on whether or not the Scrum Master helps the team adopt Scrum effectively. Now, when we say establishing Scrum, we don't mean only the team, but we also mean the product owner, other teams, the rest of the organization. So this is really a very broad accountability for the Scrum Master. But I would like to talk about the next one also. The Scrum Master is accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness. If you move to the next slide, I want to point out is we are talking about effectiveness, not efficiency. Let's pause a second here. Let's reflect a little bit on this. Because if you are focusing on efficiency, what is efficiency, first of all? Efficiency is doing the work in the right way so that we can minimize the use of resources, the cost, the time, right? Trying to be more efficient. That's what it means. But if we are focusing on efficiency, then we fall into many traps. For example, now we start looking at the number of hours that every developer has spent writing code. We start looking at how many points every developer has worked in this sprint. We start looking at velocity. Has our team a higher velocity than the other team next door? And so on. So we are trying to optimize for all of these things that really measure efficiency. But what we are really missing is what is really important, and that is effectiveness. And what is effectiveness? Effectiveness is doing the right thing. It may not be efficient, but it's going to be effective. And that is what the Scrum Master is responsible for, to help the Scrum team become more effective. Let's take an example here. If I'm driving my car, for example, I have an appointment, I have a meeting with a customer, or I have a job interview and I need to drive, I can drive in a very efficient way. Efficiency, trying to maximize efficiency. So I may want to leave the house when there is less traffic. I may want to drive my car at about 60 miles per hour, which typically is the speed where cars minimize the fuel consumption. Now using the least amount of resources to get to where I need to get, right? Great, I'm efficient. I may be late for my appointment. I may not get there. I may get there at the wrong time and these kind of things, right? Instead, I want to be effective. I want to be there on time or slightly earlier than the appointment time, especially if it is a meeting with a customer or if it's a job interview. I want to be there 15 minutes early. I can find parking. I want to be relaxed. I want to be there. I want to be effective. And maybe I don't care about it being efficient. Maybe I spend more money. I consume more fuel. I get out in the worst traffic, but I want to be there to be sure that I can do what I need to do. That is about being effective. And that's the job of the Scrum Master. So how does the Scrum Master help the team to be more effective? The number one thing is to make sure that everybody is on the same page with a goal. A goal being the product goal, so that we can all work toward achieving that, and also being the sprint goal. Because if you're not clear about what is the objective that we are trying to achieve, what are we doing? We do a bunch of work, I get it. We can be very efficient in doing the work, but their work may be useless. Maybe build a lot of features and taking us nowhere. Instead, we need to be clear about what is the objective so we can be effective, doing the right work in the right way to get there. And that also means adhering to the Scrum values, making sure the team uses the Scrum value, employs the Scrum value, really adheres to all the Scrum values. So we can talk more about that. So first, accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness. And I think that is a missing point for many Scrum Masters, which focus too much on like day-to-day tactical things and miss the bigger picture. The next question is, which hat should the Scrum Master wear on the team? Well, the Scrum Master is going to wear many hats, but I would like to talk about 4 hats in particular. So let's move on to the next slide. And if you, for the participants here, if you want, you can take a piece of paper, a sheet of paper, and draw a big cross, divide that in 4 quadrants, and take a note of what I'm sharing here, because this could be helpful in understanding the impact of the Scrum Master and the overall role. So on the left side, we will see there are 2 quadrants. The first one is teaching, and the other one is mentoring or advising. So teaching is the act of showing or explaining something to someone so that they can learn and they can solve their problem. Typically, a teacher is somebody who has knowledge and tells the other person about their knowledge. Mentoring is the act of helping someone grow or solve a problem using the mentor's previous experience in solving a similar problem. So typically, a mentor is somebody more experienced that helps somebody with less experience. Notice that both teaching and mentoring come from a stance of telling people what to do, telling people how things work, telling people how to solve a problem. On the right side, coaching and facilitating. Coaching is helping or guiding someone toward personal and professional improvement. Notice that coaching is not telling, otherwise it would be teaching or mentoring. Coaching is something different. So the question would be, how can I coach if I cannot tell people what to do, if I cannot tell people how to solve the problem? So a coach uses powerful questions to guide the coachee toward the personal and professional improvement. I'm going to share a few tips later on how to grow as a coach in particular. But for now, let's say that coaching is based on asking powerful questions that help the other person generate new ways of thinking, new ways of looking at the problem, so that in the process, they get better at doing that. And then facilitating. Facilitating is, actually, I would like to say first, facilitating is not leading. Facilitating is not directing. Facilitating means to make something easier, so to help people achieving an objective or a goal. So, for example, when you are facilitating a meeting or a workshop or an event, the Scrum Master will help the participants achieve the objective of the meeting or that event. By doing what? By doing 3 main activities. The first one is to set a time box. Every activity, in particular in Scrum, should be time box. That's the job of the facilitator. The second activity is to make sure everybody understands the purpose. What is the objective? What is the goal of this meeting, of this event, or this workshop? What is it that we are trying to achieve here? We need to be on the same page on that. And then 3 is about creating a structure, a working structure, something that the participants can follow and do to help them achieve the objective. These are the things that a good facilitator does or should do to guide the team toward achieving that objective. So as Scrum Master, you may find yourself 1 second.
I think one of our audience is requesting you to repeat the 3 facilitator points, if you can, maybe.
Yeah, I had background noise. So apologize for that. Let me resume that. So 3 facilitator points. 1, set the time box. 2, make sure that everybody understands the objective. 3, create a structure for the participants to follow and achieve the objective. So this screen right here really explains the role of the Scrum Master. That's what the Scrum Master should be doing. It's about teaching and mentoring and coaching and facilitating the Scrum team, the product owner, and everybody else in the organization. Notice that it's not writing cards in Jira. Noting that it's not updating the burn down chart. Noting that it's not writing the acceptance criteria in a Jira card or in a user story or moving the cards in a Jira board. None of these are what a Scrum Master should be doing. All of these are things that a secretary of the team could do. But the Scrum Master is not the secretary of the team. The Scrum Master really should be someone who is accountable for improving the team effectiveness. And that's what I would like to talk about next. So please, next slide. Now, this confusion about the understanding of the role of the Scrum Master has led recently to some kind of scary news. For example, last year, Capital One, a major bank in the United States, made the news because one day in late January, early February, they lay off 1,100 Scrum Masters and Agile coaches, pretty much everybody in the technology department. And that's a quote, "The Agile role in our tech organization was critical to our earlier transformation phases, but as our organization matured, the natural step is to integrate Agile delivery processes directly into our core engineering practices." What does it mean? It means that the company has reached a level of maturity with Scrum and Agile practices that they think that they don't need any more a Scrum Master to guide them in doing the adoption. These practices are well ingrained in the way that the engineering teams work. They don't need a Scrum Master anymore. Many other companies, including, for example, Volvo and other companies even in Europe, follow suit, and they did similar steps. So there was at some point a scary thought in the industry, and the thought was, is the role of a Scrum Master finished? Then companies don't need Scrum Masters anymore? Well, no, of course not. Let's look. If you don't mind moving to the next slide. I took the liberty to go and do some research, and I looked at some job description recent, like a few days ago, job descriptions for Scrum Master positions in different companies. These are United States based. And I wanted to, I noticed the breadth of different responsibilities go beyond just coaching or go well beyond moving Jira cards and or facilitating Scrum events. People by now, they know how to do the Scrum events. They don't need somebody telling them how to do a daily Scrum or a sprint planning. People, they know this. So now what should the Scrum Master do? Well, there is a breadth of different ideas here. For example, producing, maintaining, updating, and explaining process metrics to understand if you're doing things efficiently and effectively. Again, that ties to the main responsibility of the Scrum Master, guiding the team to become more effective. But if we are not measuring our effectiveness with our process, how do we know? So trying to understand the delays, trying to understand the bottlenecks, trying to understand the bugs, trying to understand the problems with the teams, where are they coming from, so that we can identify them and try to help the teams improve. Collaborate with product owners. there is no way a Scrum team can be successful unless the product owner does a good job. Let's be honest, because you can do the best Scrum things you want, but if the product owner that is not doing a good job in prioritizing the work and building a good product, everything you do is useless, right? So product owners are critical to the success of a good Scrum team. Who teaches the product owner how to do their job? Who guides the product owner? Who coaches them? That's the Scrum Master. So now this is a bigger role than, again, the moving Jira cards, right? Help your product owner do their job effectively. Document requirements and specification, review documentation provided by their teams and vendors. Now, they really should be a responsibility of the product owner, but often the product owner is a busy role. They have so many things to do. They may need some help. So now the Scrum Master can actually step up and help the product owner in doing their job, making sure that at least requirements are well defined so that we are on the same page in terms of what we need to build. Now, the Scrum Master role is also not focused on just one team anymore. Let's be honest. I mean, it's an investment from the company, but also sometimes it's a waste. We have teams that by now they know how to do their daily practices and their events. They don't need hand holding anymore. So now the Scrum Master can coach multiple teams, maybe 3 to 6 agile teams simultaneously. I mean, that I understand that's challenging. It depends on the maturity of the teams. So we need to assess that before we can commit to this. But the point is, let's open up. Let's branch out. Scrum Masters can really work across multiple teams to help the entire organization grow and improve. They can collaborate with people across a widely varying levels and roles in the organization, including collaborating with product owners, other Scrum Masters, DevOps teams, but also other stakeholders in the organization. They can work with stakeholders to drive improvement in agile maturity, because even here, a Scrum team cannot be successful unless the organization really supports the adoption of Scrum. So who does that? The Scrum Master should help the organization do that. And then finally, leveraging data to measure and monitor progress. So many times I ask the Scrum Master, what did the burn down chart look like last sprint? They have no clue. I mean, these are tools that you can use for diagnostic purposes. Open the burnout charts from these teams, look at the last 3 to 5 burnout charts. How is the team doing? What is missing here? What can we measure to identify the bottlenecks, and how can we help the team improve its effectiveness again? So all of these are things that are popping up in the job description for Scrum Masters that are really offering a broader view of the accountability and responsibilities of the Scrum Master. If we do that, the Scrum Master role becomes much more important, much more necessary, much more needed to help the Scrum team really be effective than moving Jira cards. So it takes us to the next section. Please, the next slide. The next question is, how does the Scrum Master career evolve? I would like to have a look at this, again, to help people understand how the role changes over time. First, I would like to share a picture, actually a quote with you. That's the next slide. Asking what is the career path for a Scrum Master is like asking what is the career path of a professional athlete. If you are a professional athlete, you are a professional athlete, right? Your job is not to become something else. Your job is to become a better professional athlete. Same thing for a Scrum Master, right? So how do we become a better Scrum Master? I think there are 3 major steps or phases in the career evolution of a Scrum Master. The first one, the level one, is when we learn to fly. Here, the Scrum Master is focused on the Scrum team to help the team learn and adopt Scrum effectively. And the Scrum Master may do a series of different activities. For example, facilitate Scrum events. As I mentioned earlier, this is not about leading events, but it's about making sure that the participants achieve the objective, and in the process, they learn how to do it on their own. So they don't need you to be there and do that every single time for them. Coach the Scrum team on how to adopt Scrum more effectively. Support the product owner in refining the product backlog effectively, and if they don't know how to do it, coach them so they can do it. In particular, we want to increase effectiveness, so value needs to be delivered each sprint. A key tip, a key activity, really, this should be the number one tool in your toolbox, is to use retrospectives effectively. And my tip is, a retrospective is not, the retrospective is not about the last sprint. So many times I hear retrospective about how was the last sprint, how did it go, how can we improve? Well, yes, that could be useful to ask, but really is not. It's about the team. It's about the work environment around the team. It's about the overall processes. We can look about the relationship with the product owner, for example, and so on. Really everything that may affect the Scrum team's effectiveness or may help the team improve. The Scrum Master may help the team solve impediments. And again, here is about helping, not solving for them. Helping the team adopt the Scrum patterns. The Scrum Master is supposed to be an expert in Scrum patterns. And there are many Scrum patterns documented out there. And my invitation is study them, make sure that you can adopt them with your team. Monitor the team's effectiveness. This is something that so many times I don't see teams do. They may have no idea what is their effectiveness. And in particular, one way to look at that is the achievement score in a sprint should be at least 100%, which means we have set a sprint goal for this sprint. We have delivered 100% of that sprint goal or more. Right? We can always do more, but at least let's make sure that we are effective at delivering the goal that we set for ourselves. And one possible way to discover that is to review the prior sprint's burn down chart and drive change through retrospective, like I mentioned earlier. So that's how we start. Let's move on to the next slide. That's level 2. Here, the Scrum team becomes highly productive. They don't need the Scrum Master to be hand-holding them anymore. Now the Scrum Master can spread their wings. In fact, they can start working across multiple teams and with other Scrum Masters. Possible activities including establishing community of practice within the organization. Then Scrum Masters can connect with each other and they can share the best practices. One good activity to do is to cross-facilitate each other's events, which means that I am going to facilitate the other team's events, and then the Scrum Master from another team is coming to facilitate my team's events. This allows the Scrum Master to really learn from each other and the teams to be exposed to different ways of facilitating. Coach the product owner on the product patterns. As I said, we need to make sure the product owner can be as effective as possible. So if they don't know how to do the job, you need to coach them or put them in the direction of somebody who can do it. Help the team improve the product quality. If you want to increase the effectiveness, this is not about building more features, but it's about building the right features. So we need to have a strong definition of done. We need to manage technical debt, reduce bugs, and these kind of things. Adopt DevOps practices. And finally, normalize the team skill set and practice. Sometimes we have multiple teams. One team is actually very high productive, another team is not, and that could be detrimental to the performance of the overall organization, especially if there are dependencies. We need to normalize the team skill set, trying to help everybody to become highly productive. Now, here, when I say normalize, I'm talking about the skill set and the practices they use so they can become highly productive. I'm not talking about normalizing measurements. So often I hear companies, they want to make sure that every team uses the same baseline for a story point so that everybody has the same velocity and so on. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. Every team is different. What you want to know is that every team should be high performing. That is what is important. All right, and finally, level 3. Level 3 is when the teams are now highly productive. They don't need a hand-holding. They know how to do their job. What does the Scrum Master do? They reach for the sky. So they shift the focus away from the teams and onto the organization, the leadership, the culture of the organization. For example, they can help leaders and stakeholders adopt principles from Agile and support better the Scrum teams. One example of this is conduct retrospectives with leadership and executives, basically asking the question, how can we improve how we support our Scrum teams? How can we adopt the Agile values or Agile principles across the organization in a better way? Remember, empowerment starts at the top. So leaders need to learn how to empower their teams to be successful, which means sometimes identifying and solving cultural impediments. There may be a resistance in doing that. So identify and helping people solving this. Engage stakeholders in supporting the Scrum teams. Support the adoption of Scrum patterns, enable a culture of product thinking. And that goes back to being successful in doing product management. And facilitate workshops with product owners, stakeholders. For example, for product planning, for vision, for strategy, the Scrum Master being a facilitator, they can help the product owner with the facilitation of these workshops. And again, facilitating is not leading, so you don't need to be an expert in product management. You need to be an expert in facilitation. That is the difference. And sometimes the product owners are not, so that's where you can help. So I put all of this together in this picture that I call the Scrum Master Competency Ladder. There is also a QR code if you want to download it from the website and read more about that. But that's pretty much the career journey of a Scrum Master. Sometimes we give a different name to the title of the role as it grows. We can make call it an Agile Coach, for example, or a Senior Scrum Master. That's still the same thing. It's the same concept. It's still a Scrum Master responsibility. So on the next slide, again, talking about the career progression of a Scrum Master, what I just explained is the Scrum Master developing their skills and growing in their competency to become a Senior Scrum Master, an Agile Coach, a RTE in SAFe, for example, right? And really become an expert in their job. Now, that is not the only career path. There are also other career paths that you may want to consider. If you are a Scrum Master and you already have reached a level of competency and maturity, you may ask yourself, what is next for me, right? If you don't want to follow this path, well, there are other options. So next slide. For example, you may become a product owner. Notice that if you follow what I mentioned earlier, right? Your job as Scrum Master is to help the product owner become better, coach the product owner on doing their job effectively, coach the product owner on how to learn to be a product owner better, and so on. You yourself, over time, may develop those skills. So many Scrum Masters choose to actually shift career and become product owners. So that is a viable option, and that's something you may consider as well. Some Scrum Masters move on to management. As they become senior in the organization, they may manage other people, for example, a team of Scrum Masters. Some Scrum Masters, as part of their job, actually, let's take a step back here. As part of the job of the Scrum Master, to help the team become more effective at doing their job, they need to help the team members adopt the right development processes, adopt the right testing processes, and the right testing tools. For example, DevOps, or regression testing, or TDD, test-driven development. These are all techniques, methods, practices that the Scrum Master can coach the developers in adopting. When the Scrum Master does that, they help the team become high productive. But it also means that the Scrum Master themselves learn about all these techniques. Now they are an expert in testing, in QA, quality assurance. They can grow into a QA manager role to now help multiple teams adopt these practices and improve how they do the testing or improve the quality. And then another possible role for Scrum Masters is to grow into a project manager or a program manager kind of role. Many companies see this, the Scrum Master and the project manager kind of complementary roles. They are not in general, but the transition is possible and may be a natural one to manage projects or programs, so bigger projects. So I would like for you to consider all the options here. Moving on to the next slide, I want to share a few tips for how to do that. So let's focus on some specific skills. In particular, let's start with Scrum. If the Scrum Master is not a Scrum Master, who is? So first of all, you need to become a Scrum Master, right? So study the Scrum patterns. Avoid anti-patterns. Help the team in increasing its effectiveness. Help the product owner do their job. Learn from other Scrum Masters. One example is the YouTube channel Truly Scrum that I run, where I interview other Scrum Masters and they share their own tips and experiences. Or power up your own Scrum Master skill set with additional training. For example, if you really have a CSM, Certified Scrum Master, great. What's the next step? Take an advanced CSM class or the professional class. Or, for example, I run a program called Become a Scrum Master, which is a 5-week program where people practice acting as a Scrum Master on a team, and they develop a deeper experience in doing that. So all of these are things that you can start doing today, tomorrow, to kind of increase your own skill set and confidence in becoming like an effective Scrum Master. On the right side, I also shared a few suggested books. Of course, this is not all the possible books, but a few books I like and I suggest. The Scrum Master, the Scrum Anti-Patterns Guide. This came out recently from Stefan. He is a Scrum trainer in Germany. He's done a great job collecting anti-Scrum patterns, and that's very effective. And also the Zombie Scrum Survival Guide. Again, both books focus on how to avoid the typical pitfalls. Sprint Your Way to Scrum, the book I wrote. Kanban. Honestly, Kanban is such a useful set of practices that every Scrum team should know. Even if they're not doing Scrum, even if they're not doing Kanban, because they are doing Scrum, great. But just having that base knowledge really can help. And then Agile retrospectives make a good teams great. That's always a good book to have, because the retrospectives are the number one tool in your tool set. All right, so that was about Scrum. Let's move on to the next slide. Facilitation. Facilitation is not only about facilitating Scrum events, it's facilitating, helping people achieve their objective. For example, facilitating workshops, facilitating training sessions, facilitating other teams' activities. So practice as much as possible your facilitation skills. For example, you can cross-facilitate with other Scrum Masters, with other Scrum teams. You may offer your own product owner to facilitate their workshops with their stakeholders. For example, to prioritize a backlog or to set up a product vision and so on. There are some trainings that are very useful for this. One is the Certified Agile Facilitator course offered by Scrum Alliance. Another one, highly recommended, is to take a training from the back of the room course, because it will give you a different perspective on how actually to facilitate a large group of people. On the right, you see some books, Gamestorming, for example, and Innovation Games will give you some tools to facilitate. One book, they may give you some ideas on how to facilitate workshop for product owners, is actually the Sprint book. And so these are all books that could spark your curiosity, right, to give you some tips. On the next slide, coaching and mentoring, and in particular, coaching, because coaching seems easy, it's hard. If done well, it is hard. So you need to master coaching. And there are a few ways you can do that. So there are a few books that I share on the right. These are recommended books, could be very interesting. But it's all about practicing. It's all about practicing. So you may want to offer free coaching sessions within the organization, like one-on-one coaching session with individuals or even with teams. You may want to complete a coaching course. Now, there are many different institutions, starting with Scrum Alliance, that offers a CTC, Certified Team Coach, or a CEC, Certified Enterprise Coach program. Other institutions include Coactive and the International Coaching Federation, the ICF. All of these have great coaching programs. Highly recommended if you're interested in a career as a Scrum Master or Agile coach, because again, coaching is such a powerful thing to do. And next slide, product ownership. You may not come from a product owner or product management background. I get it. It is your job to make sure your product owner grows and does their job properly. So how do you learn about what to do, what a good product owner should do, and so on? So I'm sharing a couple of books. Of course, there are 1,000 books on product management. I'm just sharing a couple of them that could be effective. But I want to suggest a few ideas. One is offer your product owners to facilitate their workshops. Again, that's facilitation. It will help you hone your skin about facilitation. But being there with the product owner in doing those sessions, those workshops, will expose you to all these different ideas and concepts. I had a friend of mine a few years ago that called me and said, Valerio, next time you do a workshop, can I join you? I can just, make photocopies for you, whatever you need me to do. But I want to be there because I want to observe how you do it as I'm learning product ownership. You may become a mentee of a product owner. So ask an experienced product owner to mentor you so that you may learn from them. Or you may complete a product management course, like, for example, taking the CSPO, Certified Scrum Product Owner course from Scrum Alliance, which, by the way, I highly recommend to all the Scrum Masters, because if you don't know what the product owner job is, it's very hard to coach them, right? And if you're interested in developing advanced product management techniques and practices, I suggest the Spark Engine CPIP, Certified Product Innovation Professional course that is for product owners, but also it can be for anyone interested in learning advanced techniques. All right, so these are my suggestions. Hopefully, I gave you several ideas